Welcome to the Michigan Football Report, live question and answer following the college football playoff top 25 rankings. Michigan is ranked number 2, folks. So, didn't have to tell anybody this. You all know this. You beat Iowa coming up on Saturday, and Michigan will be in the college football playoff. I'm going to take your questions live on air. If you're watching this later in the week, of course, we took these questions live on Tuesday, immediately following our college football playoff top 25 rankings reveal. I got a question. First one coming here from the live chat. Megadone Speed. Do you think our wide receivers are gonna Harrison, when you walk out the door, tilt this TV towards me. I really can't read that far screen, so I apologize for that. Do you think our wide receiver groups are going to go off pretty soon? We've been getting better each week. Look, I saw some really nice catches this past week. Mike Sainristal, Cornelius Johnson. They had some pretty epic games. And look, that play call to A.J. Henning was one of the most diabolical, maybe remarkable play calls we've seen of Michigan football under Jim Harbaugh. If you didn't see what happened in the press conferences, and Harbaugh and others have talked about it, they said that all the catches, the 10 catches for 170 yards that Donovan Edwards had against Maryland the week prior to the game, a lot of that was all set up for that touchdown play. Go back and watch Michigan's first touchdown. They take Donovan Edwards out of the backfield, and Cade McNamara actually pump fake to him, and Josh Jackson was in the slot on the same side of the field. He came from the left side to the right side, and McNamara's handed off to him like that. Barely could see it. That play call was 2 weeks in the making. So big-time play call from Jim Harbaugh, Josh Gattis. And I think the Michigan receivers are getting better and better, with Cade McNamara, and Cade is doing exactly what needs to get done to win the game. But if you're going to beat Georgia, you might have to play a little bit better, make a few more throws that we haven't seen from him this season. Super chat coming in from M. Nelly25. He says, "Go Blue. We want Georgia." I do want Georgia in the championship game, but if they lose in the semifinals, I'm not going to argue about that at all. I think Michigan, for the first time in the college football playoff history, a Big Ten team or a team from the North will have the home field advantage. Michigan's going to play in Indianapolis. In all likelihood, they'll end up in Dallas. The 2 semifinals are in Dallas and Miami. I'm guessing the SEC champ will be number 1. They will choose to go to Miami. Dallas will be the number 2 versus number 3, and Michigan will have that game. And then the national title game, folks. Michigan beats Cincinnati or Oklahoma State or Notre Dame, 2 versus 3. National title game in Indianapolis. Book your tickets now. No matter what, I'm going to New Orleans on Thursday for the Cowboys-Saints game. Coming back Saturday morning, paying an absurd amount to fly back to do a post-game show. But if Michigan wins that game, of course, I'll be at both the semifinal and the national title game. Alex E. coming in with a question. How do you think we fare against the rest of the top 6, Bama, Georgia, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, and Notre Dame? From a bookmaking perspective, Michigan will be favored against every team on that list in the semifinal or the championship game except for Georgia. If Michigan and Georgia played, Georgia would be about the same favorite as Ohio State would be. It fluctuates between 7 to 8 to 8.5 points, which I think is fair based on what we've seen. Remember about Georgia, they are giving up a touchdown per game this season. They have played 12 games, folks, and they have not even given up 100 points scored against them this entire year. If Michigan is going to win that game, they need to do what they did against Ohio State. Come up with a game plan that you're going to tell your great-grandchildren around if you're lucky enough to talk with them about Michigan football. So I like what I see this year in college football. You don't have the heavyweights at the top, Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma, Ohio State, like you've had in the past. And as such, it's anybody's championship. Don't tell me Georgia's too good for Michigan to beat them. I just won't believe you. To all you who are watching live right now, if you've never watched our show before, make sure to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. We're putting out more Michigan football content than anyone on planet Earth, and we are now the biggest YouTube channel for Michigan football, past Michigan podcast, just in the last couple days. 16,900 subscribers. If you're watching on demand, appreciate you. Maybe you've already subscribed. If you haven't, now's the time. Michigan's in the Big Ten championship game, national championship game, college football playoff, all that stuff coming up. We have a video for you if Michigan wins against Iowa every single day in the month of December, and ideally all the way up to the national championship game in Indianapolis the second Monday of January, which will be super exciting. So hit that sub button. Brendan coming in. Do you think Michigan can get focused enough to beat Iowa coming off such a huge win? Look, the great thing about this Michigan football team right now, the thing I've seen about Jim Harbaugh that is tremendous this season is that they haven't looked ahead too far, and they have come to play every single game. The one thing looking back, I went to the 2018 game against Ohio State in Columbus, and I was in the stadium about an hour and a half before kickoff, and I said to my friend I went with, who was an Ohio State fan, I said, I don't know. I don't like this game at all. This doesn't feel right. Because Ohio State came out. They were getting crazy. They were getting after it. They looked crisp. Michigan looked like they were, scared. The opposite of what happened on Saturday against Ohio State this year. Michigan looked like the aggressor. They looked like the confident team. I think that's going to continue going on. We've seen it all year. Wisconsin, Washington, Nebraska, Penn State. Even the Michigan State game, I thought they came out and played with confidence. Ultimately, they just didn't get it done down the stretch. Josh Fade _Master says, did we have Mike Hart this year? Or did having Mike Hart this year help our running game? Without question. There's no doubt about it. Michigan went from one of the worst rushing teams from both strategy, play calling, rotation, right? Trying to rotate 4 and 5 backs in some games last year, and productivity. One of the worst in the country, maybe the worst in Power 5, honestly, last year from a rushing attack, to maybe the best in under a year. It's a worst to first turnaround like we haven't seen. Mike Hart's already getting some buzz about being the offensive coordinator in Indiana, right, where he just left. They fired their offensive coordinator. He's also getting some buzz for the head coaching job at Temple. So if Michigan needs to give him a raise, do it. If they need to give him an elevated title like, I don't know, running game coordinator, just do it. He wants to be the head coach of this program. Jim Harbaugh needs to say, Mike, stick with me, ride my coattails. You will get your dreams. You'll be the head coach of the Michigan football program someday. Is Aiden Hutchinson a realistic contender for the Heisman? I think he is, actually. I really think that he is this week. If we go to this Big Ten championship game, if he gets 2 or 3 sacks, or if what you saw I put on my show and I put on Twitter in the last day or so, get him a touchdown. Put him in there at fullback if you can, right? If Michigan's covering the game, if they're winning by 14 or 17 or 21 points in the fourth quarter, go ahead and give him a carry inside the 5-yard line. And I think it'd be pretty exciting. Jack, if you get a chance, toss out my Twitter account. I want to make sure everyone watching here live gives the opportunity to do so, and we'll get there. Next question up, coming from Tharper with 2 R's, is Haskins actually an NFL caliber back? He's not a first-round pick. I've talked to enough NFL scouts or people around that do mock drafts, etc. No one's predicting him to be a first-round pick. But surprisingly, he has 2 years of eligibility left, right? Because last year didn't count against eligibility because of coronavirus, he has 2 years of eligibility left. But I think Hassan Haskins, it's pretty clear from every indication that he has given those around him and to Jim Harbaugh, the program, he will enter the NFL draft. I'm guessing he's going to be about a 3rd or 4th round pick because he doesn't have top-end speed. But what he's proven, he's taken his draft stock from an undrafted 7th round, 6th round guy to a 3rd round pick most likely. He will leave Michigan after the season, most likely. Let's hope he does it as either a first-team All-American, a Heisman Trophy winner, and hell, how about a national champion? Let's get some score predictions here in the comments on the Michigan Football Report. Iowa, Michigan, Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern from Indianapolis. It's the Big Ten championship game. The first time Michigan has been in this Big Ten championship game since it was started in the 2011 season. Go ahead and give me those comments. I've got Tess M coming in with a 42-27, same score as they beat Ohio State. I don't think Iowa's going to score 27 points on Michigan. That is for sure. This is one of the worst offenses I've ever seen out of a competent football team in my lifetime. They are a 10-2 team with a 2-10 offense. I've got Jordan Kane, 38-17, Michigan, 27-17 Iowa from Joe, or 27-17 Michigan from Joe Smith, 27-6 from Wide Open 2006. Stuber for Heisman, shout out to him. He's had a big-time year. Rich Schultz, 35-17. Travis Mitchell, 27-13. And Kevin Hudson. Travis Mitchell, shout out to you, man. I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back to the show. Kevin Hudson says 35-14. Stephen Cannon says, is Michigan going to go after any of the Notre Dame commits? Yeah, there's actually quite a few. There's a receiver from Louisiana that looks like could potentially flip towards Michigan. A couple players that are in I guess, the realm. Now, I think if these players are smart, they will stick around with Notre Dame, or at least say, hey, we're going to leave it open. There's 2 weeks from tomorrow till the early National Signing Day, but it's not a required National Signing Day. So I think Michigan will go after plenty of guys. We'll see what happens in the Notre Dame coaching situation. If they get a Luke Fickell or a Matt Campbell or someone of that ilk, potentially Notre Dame can keep this class together, but we'll see what they do. If they can move fast, they'll keep the recruiting class together with a big coaching hire. If not, All those recruits, pretty good recruiting class, are on the table for Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, anybody in the Midwest or nationally and beyond. Next question coming in from Dre B. Is Edwards or Corum a 2022 Heisman contender? I mean, why not, right? Blake Corum was certainly a Heisman contender going, 3, 4, 5, 6 games into the year, and now Hassan Haskins is one of those Heisman contenders. As I'm looking at the live chat, I think that next year it's going to be Corum because he is going to be the guy who gets the carries out of the backfield most in the game, right? This year was split between Haskins, Corum, 15 carries, 18 carries, 16 carries. And then once you got later in the season, Corum gets hurt. Hassan Haskins takes over and gets all of the carries. And now he has emerged as first-team All-American. Tomorrow he'll be named first-team All-Big Ten, and maybe he gets the All-Big Ten Player of the Year over C.J. Stroud. So next year I think Blake Corum will be the guy from a running perspective. Donovan Edwards clearly will as well, but he has proved himself to be a hell of a pass catcher. So we'll see what happens next year. Hassan Haskins, though, likely gone from this team. Question coming in from Rich Schultz. I want to continue to ask you guys to keep things going, keep the chats going. We're going to put this first part we just did on our YouTube channel as an on-demand, and then we'll come back, keep rolling with more questions. So keep the questions going. Rick Schultz, how often do we go to the air on Saturday? I believe Iowa will be stacking the box. This Iowa defense is a hell of a defense, folks. It's a really, really good defense, and it's going to challenge Michigan in ways they were challenged, like at Penn State, let's say. I think it's a better defense than Ohio State, although not as talented. I think it's a better scheme and a better fit against what Michigan does. It's a really good run defense, so Michigan will go to the air. I think the approach will be up there with Michigan State, where Michigan might end up going to the air a little more early on, try and get a couple scores in. But if Josh Gattis and Jim Harbaugh can keep up the play calling excellence, and it was an excellent play calling game, if you go back and watch it, you're just like, where have these plays been for this program? I think Michigan should do whatever they want against Iowa. All in. They score 35 points. Iowa scores anywhere from 7 to 20, 21, and Michigan wins comfortably by a 2-score lead. Folks, make sure you follow me on Twitter if you have never watched the show before. It's at James Yoder. I think I'm a pretty funny guy on Twitter, all things being considered. I like to take a lot of shots at Ohio State, and I put out Michigan football news and rumors. So get going with me on Twitter. I'll make you guys this deal. Anybody who follows me back before end of day Wednesday, so during the live show, or I'll put this video out on demand on Wednesday morning, anyone who follows me on Twitter before end of day Wednesday, I will follow you back. So hit me up at James Yoder on Twitter.